Hi, my name is Corey Smith and welcome to Build Your First Quadcopter, Part 4. This is the Open Pilot Ground Control Station, or GCS. We're going to be using the Vehicle Setup Wizard, so the first thing it's going to ask you is to remove all of your propellers, which doesn't apply to us since we haven't installed our propellers. Then it's going to tell you to upgrade your flight controller board, so we're going to plug in the CC3D and then let it do its thing. So now it's detected the board and it's installing the proper firmware. This usually takes about 5 to 10 seconds. After that's done, we can move on to the next step, which is calibrating the accelerometers. I might go over these other settings in another video, but for now we don't need to worry about them. Once you get to the screen that says calculate, you need to make sure that your board is mounted on your frame properly and that your frame is on a level surface. So once you're ready, you can press calculate, and then while it's calculating, make sure that you don't move or bump the quadcopter or else that'll completely mess it up. So once you're done with that, just keep pressing that next button until we get to save. And obviously you're going to save after that. The last section that we skipped is about calibrating the output of the flight controller to the ESCs. But what I like to actually do is the opposite and calibrate the ESCs to the flight controller. So once that's done saving, then we can go head over to the radio setup wizard. In here we're just going to click OK, and then we can plug in our quadcopter. The first thing that we're going to do in the radio setup is make sure that acro mode is selected and then hit next. And then most people in the US fly mode 2, so that's what I'm going to select. Then it's going to ask you to move every single control that you're using individually. So I just started by moving the throttle, then the aileron, then elevator, then rudder. Then we're going to move our flight mode switch, and then our accessory knob, which I'll talk about in later videos. There's 2 extra accessory knobs, but those aren't hooked up, so we're just going to press next. Now you need to center all of your controls, including your flight mode switch. Then you can press next and then move every single control in every single direction. And then don't forget to move your flight control switch and your accessory knob, or else they also won't work. Now we're pretty much done with the transmitter setup. All you need to do is just make sure that all of your stick movements mimic what's going on the screen. If they don't, then you can just go up to these check boxes right here and then reverse whichever channel is going in the wrong direction. So once you're done with the radio setup, then it's going to take you to the arming settings page. So by default it's going to be set to always disarmed, but we're going to change it to yaw right. And then the arming timeout, which is how long it'll actually stay armed, I like to keep that at 15. So this next page has all of the settings for the flight mode switch. Right now it's set so that no matter what position the mode switch is in, it's always going to be in attitude mode, which is where it will self-level itself. I'll talk about rate mode and all of the other modes in another video, but for now we're just going to leave it how it is. Now we're going to be calibrating our ESCs, so we need to check all 4 of these checkboxes over here where it says link, and then press test outputs. And before we go any further, make sure that your battery is disconnected from your quad. So now we're going to raise our ESC output to 100% and then plug in our battery, and then after about 4 seconds you should hear 3 beeps. After those 3 beats, immediately bring your ESC output down to 0%. You should then hear 2 high tones and 2 low tones, confirming that it's been calibrated. Once the ESCs are calibrated, the last thing to do is to raise the motor outputs until all of the motors are idling without stopping. So once you've done that, then just hit save and then you're done. If you want, you can also look at the flight data just to make sure that everything's working properly, but other than that, that's pretty much it. In the next video, we're going to be going over how to balance the props and what directions the motor should be spinning in. So don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in another video.